What is up, everyone? Welcome back to the LFC Transfer Room. And today we are joined for an exclusive interview with Aaron from Proxima Jornada. How are you, mate? Are you good?
Yeah, not too bad, mate. Not too bad. Great to be
I hope
on.
I didn't. I hope I didn't butcher the pronunciation of your site there.
No, no, no. That was brilliant. I've heard a lot worse. Trust me.
Absolutely. So, of course, today is all about Luis Diaz. It's going absolutely crazy everywhere on Twitter at the moment. Yesterday it was Tottenham. Today it's Liverpool, and it's looking like it's pretty much sorted. James Pearce, David Ornstein, Neil Jones have all confirmed it. But before we get into sort of the meat of the transfer, Aaron, for those who haven't seen Luis Diaz play, how would you describe him?
Oh, good question. How would I describe him? He's he's brilliant. First of all, he's brilliant. Just to put it simply, he's the best player in Portugal at the moment. He's the league's best player. He's someone that gets you out of your seat. He's aggressive. He's tenacious. He's quick. His decision making is something that's improving season upon season upon season to the point now where he's the second top goal scorer, I think, and the position that he plays is putting up some really, really good numbers. Yeah, he don't want to sort of oversell him, but as I say, from watching him in the Portuguese league, he's just got better and better and better. And I think most people in Portugal, and I think most FC Porto supporters, they knew that this day was going to come. He's just sort of the latest in the long line of top talents, really. And you get one every couple of years, and Luis Diaz is the one for this season. So, if the deal does get done, goes over the line, Liverpool are getting a ready-made player. I think one question I've been asked quite a lot in the last couple of hours is how does he go straight into the team? Is he ready? He's 100% ready for the Premier League. I know some people might have skepticism when you sign from the Premier League or you sign from a league maybe outside of the top 5, top 4 European leagues. But with a player like Luis Diaz, he'll fit in straight away, to be honest. He's at that level now.
Yeah, I mean, a pretty good link to the next question. Really, I was going to say, the Portuguese league, the Premier League, has certainly gone up in estimations. I think over the last couple of years. Do you think the step now is a lot less than it should have been? Therefore, than it used to be. Sorry, to the Premier League. Therefore, meaning that Diaz would be able to settle in quicker, or is it purely an individual basis with him?
I'm not too sure, to be honest, because you can look at it two ways. You can look at it in terms of sort of prominence now. More and more players, especially you only have to look at the Premier League. Most teams have a Portuguese player now, either one or two. Some teams have more, especially the teams at that top end of the table. I mean, you've only got to look at what Manchester City are doing. You know, their title winning campaign last season, all three, Ruben Dias, Bernardo Silva and Joao Cancelo, were influential. They're all one of the best in their position in position in the world. Diogo Jota's absolutely lighting it up for Liverpool. Wolves are doing really well this season. We're seeing sort of João Moutinho and Ruben Neves come back into form under Bruno Lage. So, and then obviously the lads at United, Bruno was putting up ridiculous numbers. Ronaldo's Ronaldo. So when you look at it that way, you think, yeah. But then in terms of the actual quality of the league, well, we only have to go back to, say, 2004, 2005, and players then were moving to the Premier League and adapting straight away. The players of like Ricardo Carvalho, Paulo Ferreira, Porto had obviously just won the Champions League in 2004. A couple of years prior to that, we were seeing the likes of Rui Costa, Nuno Gomes playing in Serie A. So Portuguese players have always left the Premier League and done well relatively wherever they've went. We're just seeing it happen a lot more now. I do agree with that. I think most leagues now will have. I mean, one of our jobs at Proxima Jornada is sort of tracking those players who are playing abroad, and it does feel like we're speaking about more and more players each week. And so maybe the gap, maybe the importance of European football now is that maybe teams and leagues are all starting to become a little bit more similar rather than having completely stark differences. So yeah, possibly, but I think it depends on the player as well, because we see some players come and don't really hit the height. Although, to be honest, with Portuguese players, I think we see a much higher, like, positive to negative ratio in terms of how they do. Like there's I hate to use the word flop, but there's a lot more successes than there are flops if you compare it to, say, comparative leagues. So if you to say like the Eredivisie, like the Dutch league, sort of leagues that are around outside the top 5, I think Portugal definitely has a good reputation for. If you buy a player from there, they usually go on to do quite well.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, what's been the reaction over in Portugal? How have the Porto fans taken this? I mean, is there a player who's been so key for them this season?
A mixture, to be honest. I think disappointment, obviously, but not disappointment in terms of the fact that he's leaving. It's disappointment in the fact that he's leaving now in January. So if reports are believed to be true, Sérgio Conceição, the manager, is supposed to be really annoyed that the board have sort of allowed this to happen in January. As far as I was aware, as far as most people in Portugal were aware, is that this deal was going to happen regardless in the summer. So Tottenham came in with interest, but before Tottenham were in the picture, everything pointed towards him moving to Liverpool in the summer anyway. And I think with, obviously, Porto didn't win the Premier League last season. It was Sporting. So this season, they've wanted to sort of get that back. They're now top of the table with 6 points clear. They're into they've got a qualifier to play in the Europa League against Lazio. So, and they're still involved in the domestic cup competitions in the Taça de Portugal. So they've sort of fighting on three different fronts, and he's key to that, especially the league. I mean, you've only got to see the reaction now of the supporters of the rival clubs in terms of the title battle now, is because although it's 6 points, it's blown a little bit, more open now for the likes of Sporting, because he's such a key figure that losing him now, I'm not going to say it's going to completely derail the season. They've still got a quality squad, but it is huge. I think if he'd have stayed until the summer and then left, it's completely understandable. He's a player who's been at that point, he would have been going into his 4th season in Portugal. To keep hold of a player for that long, it is rare. You've look at the players before, Radamel Falcao, James Rodriguez, or the Colombians. They didn't stay 5, 6, 7, 8 seasons. That's just not how it works in Portugal. But I think leaving halfway through the season is a disappointment. And also maybe financially in terms of what they're going to get back, because some of the fee has to be, I think it's getting divided up. Some of it's in add-ons. His former club, Junior in Colombia, are owed money as part of the deal as well. And I think if you look at the transfer fee paid for maybe other players that have left Portugal in recent times, compared to Luis Diaz, and then compared to a player of his quality, they maybe feel they aren't getting, what they should. But COVID, financial fair play, all these things can affect a club like Porto, so it's understandable, to be honest. But yeah, maybe slightly disappointed at the timing and the fee, but the transfer itself, I don't think they kidded themselves into thinking he was never going to leave, because you only get a player like that for so long and then on to the next.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, in terms of Liverpool, you got a player in Sadio Mane on that left-hand side who's out of contract in 17 months now. Do you feel like Diaz could be a direct replacement for Sadio Mane, or do you think that he will be integrated into the squad before anything's decided on Mane's future?
To be honest, I'm not too sure. From sort of a Liverpool perspective, I think only those at the club would know. But I mean, if you look at it on paper, obviously, sort of, he's a left winger, plays in that position. I think Liverpool, more recently, before the AFCON, was setting up with like Salah on the right, Mane on the left, and Diogo Jota sort of in the middle. But the front three of Liverpool, to be honest, is so fluid that it's a good thing, I suppose, for the team. Is that they can all play across that front three. They can all do different jobs when they're asked. Salah can play more central. He can also, obviously, we know him best for playing out wide. The same with Diogo Jota. When he was at Wolves, he was playing on the left as a false 9. He played on the right. And Luis Diaz will just be expected to come in and help out wherever as well. I don't think he's going to come in and completely usurp Sadio Mane, because I just don't think that's what's going to happen. But if you're Liverpool and you're competing for the Premier League, which they still are, and you're competing in the Champions League and you're competing in the FA Cup, at this point in time, bringing a player like Luis Diaz in who can come in and make an impact straight away means you've got another player in the squad. You've got another body for when these games start coming thick and fast and you're playing 2, sometimes 3 times a week, especially those midweek Champions League games. And then on the league, he just gives it's another body to come in, another player to come in. Whether he'll get a starting position straight away, it's maybe comparable to the Diogo Jota circumstance, that situation. When he came in, people were thinking he only get a couple of minutes. He weren't really playing at Wolves. He'd fallen out of favour a little bit. Then he goes to Liverpool, and it's like, well, they've got Roberto Firmino there, but then chances will come, and you just have to be ready to take them. And I think someone like Luis Diaz, who's got that temperament, I don't know him, but from what reports say is that he's got a very determined character. He's very willing. He's very hard working. You can see that on the pitch. So he won't come in and throw his toys out the pram if he's not starting every game. He knows the situation, and Liverpool know the situation. Sadio Mane, in terms of his contract and stuff, that'll probably see some developments over the next couple of months or whatever. But I think Liverpool just want to get him in the door for now, and then they'll figure out where to put him once he's signed on the dotted line.
Yeah, I mean, under Jurgen Klopp, we've seen sort of a mixture with his signings, but the sort of general thing comes is that they usually need maybe 2, 3, 4 months to settle in. Do you see that happening with Diaz, or do you think he can potentially settle in straight away?
I think his settling in period will be quicker than some of the other players, only because he's used to working for a manager who works them hard. In Sergio Conceição, he's quite a taskmaster. Not in the same way that Jurgen Klopp is, obviously, in terms of the style, this sort of high-pressing system. And I imagine the training sessions under Klopp are completely relentless. That might take a couple of weeks, a couple of months for him to get up to speed. But one thing I think being a Jurgen Klopp player is being able to do all things well, defensively and offensively. You can't have any people who are slacking. You can't have people who are lazy. He's certainly not that. So that helps his adjustments. He'll settle in a little bit quicker. But then also at the same time is that a club like Liverpool with multi-million pounds infrastructure, they scout their players incredibly well. Jurgen Klopp will, they've got people at the very top who know exactly what they're doing. They wouldn't bring a player to Liverpool of his caliber, of his reputation, and for that price if they didn't think that he'd be able to at least come in and make some sort of impact within the first couple of months. It might take a little bit longer. That's just football. As I say, with Liverpool, with Man City is the same. We see a lot of City's even longer. You see a lot of players go there, and for the first year, they don't really kick on, and then you start to see it. At Liverpool, I do think his ability to adapt will help him a lot. He's played in different systems. He's played under different managers. He excels when he plays for his club. He was the top scorer at the Copa America for Colombia, so he excels with his country. He's had seasons where he's played sort of in and out the team, and then he's ended up starting every game out of nowhere. Then he'll go back to it. So he's well versed. He's well experienced, and I do think that'll all help with him settling in. And yeah, the fact that he's got players at the club as well that I think a lot of people don't really think about is in terms of him as a person settling down. Well, but to be honest, regardless, you've got the Brazilians who are there who all speak Portuguese. So the likes of Alisson, the likes of Firmino, the likes of Diogo Jota who speaks European Portuguese, and then you've got the lads who speak Spanish there as well. Thiago does a bit of both, speaks Portuguese and Spanish. So I think there's people at the club who will help him to settle in. There's people who he'll know. So yeah, I think that all helps with his adaptation, and I don't see him as a player who will really sort of struggle, and you'd be thinking, is it worth the money we paid for him? But I am quite biased because I am a massive Luis Diaz fan, so I do see him going in and lighting it up, to be honest.
Excellent. I think that's a great place to finish it. Aaron, where can people go and find all your content on Portuguese football, mate?
So you can find me at Proxima Jornada 1 on Twitter. You can also go to our website, proxima-jornada.com, where we have the latest scout reports, articles, and all things to do with Portuguese football. And we also have a podcast. We run the Portuguese Football Show, which is a weekly podcast speaking about all things Portuguese football abroad and in Portugal. And we've recently launched the Patreon as well. You'll find more details of that if you're interested on the Twitter. So yeah, plenty of places to find us.
Definitely extremely interesting and definitely something you definitely need to check out. And how many times can I say definitely in a sentence? Who knows? We will catch you in the next video with loads more Diaz content coming your way. If it happens, amazing. If not, we've got a bit of egg on our faces, but we move. We will catch you in the next video and we'll see you next time. Bye.